असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय.
Hello everyone. Today's our topic is 13th lesson in our part 2, that is national liberation movements in the colonies. National liberation movements in the colonies. Once if we observe the title of the lesson, it is clearly showing that liberation movements. Liberation movements means like freedom movements. Freedom movements in the colonies. Colonies means the countries which are under the control of other countries. Example, India was colony of Britain those times. Okay, so in this session, in this lesson, we have to discuss. We are going to discuss about three countries. First of all, China. Okay, China after Vietnam after third country, Nigeria. So let us take example. What is China's condition those time? How China was there? Why liberation movements were started in China? Right, China. India was under the control of only one country, Britain. Britain ruled India. But China was under the control of many countries. Example, this part of the China under the control of France. This part of the China was under the control of British. This is France. This is British. This is Italy, and this is Germany. This is Austria. This is Hungary. And other parts, US, Japan. So what we are observing, many countries they are ruling China, or many countries they established their powers in China. Okay, so many countries are establishing their spheres of influence in China. So that is China system. So Chinese have to fight with along these all countries. They have to fight with Italy, they have to fight with Britain, they have to fight with France, they have to fight with Germany, Austria, Hungary, Japan, US. So China's situation is very different while compared to India. Let us see how they were liberated. Let us see how they were liberated. Now, initially China was ruled by. Initially China was under the control till the 20th century. Till the 20th century, China was ruled by Manchu dynasty ruler. Manchu dynasty's people, rulers were ruled China till 1911 they ruled. Till 1911 they were ruled. So these Manchu dynasty members were failed to stop the foreigners into China. So because of the failure of Manchu dynasty rulers only, all the foreigners were infiltrated into China. Many members they entered into China. So that's what Chinese government failed. They are failed to restrict. They are failed to restrict foreigners, isn't it? Yeah, they are failed to restrict the foreigners. Next, they have given lot of exemptions. They have given lot of exemptions to the foreigners. What are the exemptions? They gave that low import duties, low taxes, military forces, and also they gave immunity from Chinese law. Yeah. So Manchu dynasty have failed to stop the foreigners to do not enter into China. But whenever they failed, they also gave certain concessions, certain benefits to the foreigners. What are the benefits? Low import duties. Those foreign countries, they did not pay many taxes. That means low import duties, low import taxes, military forces. Foreigners they brought military forces. That military forces also allowed. Next, immunity from Chinese law. Chinese laws were not worthy for them. Chinese laws were not valid to them. So these kind of the facilities were provided by the Manchu dynasty. Then the common people, administrators were hating this Manchu dynasty ruler. These members completely they lost their support. This Manchu dynasty were lost their support, people support, and administrators also they not gave support to the Manchu dynasty. Finally, this Manchu dynasty, all members they wanted to drive out this Manchu dynasty from China. They wanted to cancel the dynasty, Manchu dynasty from China because of these conditions. They may ask that why Manchu dynasty lost its majority, why people are unwilling to give support to the Manchu dynasty, because they did not stop the foreigners to enter into China. Now let us see how these Chinese government or Chinese they overthrown this Manchu. 1911 Manchu dynasty was abolished. Manchu dynasty was abolished in 1911. 1911 Chinese Manchu dynasty was abolished. Many people they came together and they were abolished. This was abolition was done. Yeah, it was the abolition was done by a person. His name is Sun Yat-sen. Sun Yat-sen. Yeah, Sun Yat-sen. Sun Yat-sen timing duration is 1866 to 1925. His lifespan. Sun Yat-sen. Sun Yat-sen he was overthrown or abolished this monarchy or Manchu dynasty and he established a republic. Sun Yat-sen. 1911 republic was established. A republic was established under the control of Sun Yat-sen. Sir, who was Sun Yat-sen? Sun Yat-sen was he can consider as founder of modern China. He was considered as founder of modern China. He considered as founder of modern China. He was introduced democracy and Christianity. He was introduced democracy and Christianity introduced by Sun Yat-sen. I repeat, democracy and Christianity introduced. He was studied his medicine. He also completed his medicine. Okay, completed his medicine. Yeah, when he was completed his medicine, but he is worrying a lot about the Chinese situation. The Chinese situation was very bad. Manchu dynasty were not controlling to them. Hence, he is completely very bad situation to control. Next, to adopt certain development in modern China, he introduced 3 principles. I am writing here 3 principles. 3 principles. Yeah, 3 principles. 3 principles of Sun Yat-sen. What are these 3 principles? 3 principles were Sun Min Chui. We can call as Sun Min Chui. Yeah. So what is Sun Min Chui? First one, nationalism. Democracy. Third one, socialism. Yeah. 3 principles of Sun Yat-sen. 3 principles of Sun Yat-sen. These are Sun Min Chui. Means in Chinese language, these are called as Sun Min Chui. Means nationalism. He wanted to develop the nationalism. He wanted to drive out the foreigners. He wanted to remove the foreigners. That we called they wanted to remove the foreigners. That is nationalism. And democracy. He wanted to establish democracy. That means people elected government. And he wanted to adopt socialism. What is the meaning of the socialism? Socialism means industries, factories and lands. I repeat, industries, factories, lands were confined to the government. So he wanted to remove the foreigners under nationalism. He wanted to establish democracy and he wanted to implement socialism. Socialism means land redistribution. The people of China, they don't have lands. So those who are having more lands, they wanted to take the lands and he wanted to distribute to the landless poor people. Factories, they also wanted to conquer. He wanted to nationalize the factories and he wanted to nationalize the banks. These all comes under socialism. So these all are the principles and about the little bit facts related information related to Sun Yat-sen. But unfortunately, Sun Yat-sen did not come in power. He was fought, he was overthrown, but Sun Yat-sen did not come into power. Finally, China went to the hands of the warlords. China was came under the control of warlords. Who are warlords? Warlords are in each and every state. Certain warlords are there. They have certain military group. So they are independently ruling Chinese states. They are independently ruling Chinese state. Republic was established, but Sun Yat-sen unable to come into power. The power was transferred. The power was grabbed by the warlords. Warlords means some of the persons, those who are having military or heads and very rich elites of the Chinese were called as warlords. Yeah. This is about information related to Sun Yat-sen. Then let us see after Sun Yat-sen who came. After the Sun Yat-sen. Yeah, after the death of Sun Yat-sen. After the death of Sun Yat-sen, KMT leader, KMT, Chinese party name or Sun Yat-sen party name is KMT. KMT also called as Kuomintang Party. Kuomintang Party. This party also called as National People's Party. National People's Republic Party also it can be called as. This party also called as Kuomintang Party, KMT Party, which was set up by Sun Yat-sen. It was set up by Mr. Sun Yat-sen. Yeah. So whenever Sun Yat-sen was established this party after the death of Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek became a leader of KMT party. So they may ask you that who is the leader of Sun Yat-sen party or who is the leader of KMT party or Kuomintang party is we can call as Chiang Kai-shek. You remember Chiang Kai-shek. Now we will have a little bit discussion related to KMT party in the remaining sessions or upcoming sessions. Yeah. Next let us see May 4th movement. May 4th movement. Historically it has very great significance. May 4th movement. So what happened on May 4th movement? Okay. On 4th May 1919. It's very, very important. First point, May 4th movement started on May 4th 1919. At where? At Beijing. You know that Beijing is capital city. Beijing is the capital city of China. So why it was started? The reason is China did not get back its territories from Japan. I am writing here. China did not get back its territories from Japan as per the terms and conditions of Treaty of Versailles. Yeah. Why May 4th movement was started? Simple reason. China did not get back its territories from Japan as per the terms and conditions of Treaty of Versailles. Sir, why Treaty of Versailles came here again? Because China was an ally. I am writing a point. China was an ally of Britain in World War I. Right. China was an ally. China gave its support to Britain. So they won. In Britain won means Chinese they won. So whenever they won, during World War, Japan has occupied certain areas of China. Japan occupied certain parts of China, so that as per the Treaty of Versailles, China have to give back the territories to Japan have to give back these territories to the China. But China did not get its territories till 1919. 1919 only it was concluded. But they did not give the territories to China. Japan did not hand over the Chinese territories to China. Hence, many members they came onto the road. Many members they came onto the road. They are giving slogans. They are giving slogans. Second, though all the village, all the people from villages and all the persons different ages, they came onto the road and they are demanding that to attack old tradition. They are demanding that to attack old tradition. To attack old tradition. Means Chinese, they wanted to develop China into modern nation. So that the old tradition, they wanted to remove the old tradition. I repeat, they wanted to remove the old tradition. And they also are giving the slogans that save China. Save China through modern science, democracy, modern science, democracy and nationalism. So they wanted to bring changes in modern science, democracy and nationalism. Save China through medicine science, democracy and nationalism. So that also they are giving complete slogans on the roads of the Beijing. And also they are demanding that drive out the foreigners. Drive out foreigners. As we know that China was under the control of many countries. Many countries were ruling. So they are demanding that we have to drive out all the foreigners. We have to remove all the foreigners. Next, they are also demanding that control over resources. Control over resources. Before that, there was a resources which was under the control of British, or those countries are ruling China. Those countries are ruling China. They are controlling the resources. Next, they are also saying that remove the inequalities. Remove the inequalities. There was a lot of inequalities between the people. Lot of inequalities. There are a lot of inequalities among the people, like poverty. Okay. And I want to write again some other points. Okay. Seventh one, remove poverty. Remove poverty. Majority of the people in China were poor people. Mostly they depends upon agriculture. Hence this giving slogan that remove poverty. Next, and there are also certain other terms and other conditions are there. They are demanding for simple language script. Simple language and script. Simple language and script. So Chinese language was little bit very difficult. So that they want little bit changes in the Chinese language also. They are asking for the change. Next, abolition of certain subordinate of women, or we can say that abolishing of polygamy. Polygamy means, I think you know that there was for many wives, a person having many wives, there are subordinate of, this is called as subordination of women. Abolishing of subordinating of women. Subordination of women. So women, they don't have any rights, and women were completely degraded in China. So that's why they are asking that abolishing of subordination of women. Subordination of women means one person having many wives. Next, the important one is food binding. Food binding is a cruel practice. Food binding, it was followed in Chinese community. It was a superstition. The Chinese, they tie with the ropes the food. The food will be tied with the ropes that which could not allow the growth of the feet. They believe that long feet women cannot be married. So it is a very bad sin. It is not good. So that food binding was practiced. Food binding means it was a cruel method to do not allow the women's feet to do not grow. So that's what that was tied with the ropes. So this food binding. Against of these all, they are fighting food binding. And the illegal marriages, mostly illegal marriages were happening. So they are also demanding that equality in marriages. Equality in marriages. There was no equality in the marriages. Women does not have choice. Women does not have choice, and there was a contract marriages were there in China. And 12th one is economic development. 12th one is economic development. So these are the reasons for the May 4th movement. These are the reasons for the May 4th movement. I want to repeat. May 4th movement, it was held on 4th May 1919 in Beijing, because the main reason is China did not get back its territories from Japan, because China was an ally of Britain in World War I. In World War I, China, Britain both are fought. China won, Britain won. Whenever they won, they have to get back certain territories from Japan. But Japan is delaying to give the territories. So that this movement was came. And that is the main reason, and other reasons also there. First one, to attack old tradition. Save China through modern science, democracy and nationalism. Drive out the foreigners. They wanted to send the foreigners out. Control over resources. Remove the inequalities. Remove poverty. Simple language and script. Abolishing of subordination of women. Food binding. Equality in marriages. Economic development. These are their demand. These are their demands. Okay, hope I clear. Next, let us see about Kuomintang party or KMT party. Yeah, as we learned that KMT party leader, this KMT party also called as Kuomintang. So this Kuomintang party leader, after the death of Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek, very very important. Chiang Kai-shek, he became leader of Kuomintang party. Yeah, there was another party also there. CCP. There are two parties are there. CCP party and KMT party. Both parties are there. These both parties were tried to unite the country. Yeah, these both parties were tried to unite the country, and these parties they have ideological differences. Like Congress party, BJP party, they want all national interest, but their methodology is different. Chiang Kai-shek introduced. Chiang was introduced 4 great needs. Chiang introduced 4 great needs. So what are these 4 great needs? I am writing here 4 great needs. 4 great needs. He thought that we have to provide 4 great needs to each and everyone. First one is food, clothing, cloth. Third one is shelter. Fourth one is transportation. Yeah. So this is the 4 important needs he believes. Chiang Kai-shek, he usually believes in it. And Chiang Kai-shek was a leader that he was launched military campaign on the warlords. And I told to you that China was under the control of military, under the control of warlords. He was military campaign. Military campaign on warlords. He started military campaign on the warlords, and he also gave that people to that habit and instinct for unified behavior. He also said that habit. He told the people to change. He usually focusing the people or encouraging the people to that change their attitude, habit and instinct. Instinct for unified behavior, very very important. It may be asked in examinations. Habit and instinct for unified behavior. He told that we all have to be change our attitude as per the situation. We have to change. He was told, Chiang Kai-shek. So mostly this KMT party was in urban areas. KMT party mostly in urban areas. In villages, this party is not strong in grassroots level. KMT party was very weak in grassroots level. Grassroots level means in village level this party was very weak. Okay, Yeah, so that you their KMT party members, they focus mostly on the urban rurals, especially the workers. Especially the workers. Their main focus was on the workers. On the time there was 5 lakhs industrial. There was a slow industrialization in 1919. Industrialization was bit of slow. There are 5 lakhs people were working in Shanghai. 5 lakhs people were working in Shanghai, and mostly the women's workers also working in Shanghai. Women's salaries were very low. Women's workers are working in the factories. Women's salaries were very low, and women's working conditions are very harsh. Very bad working conditions are there for the women's. Women's, they are organized trade unions. Women's organized trade unions. Trade unions. Women's were organized trade unions. They are inspired by the European ideology. They are inspired by the European ideology. Like women's, they are thinking that we want freedom. Okay? We want women rights. We want women rights. We want freedom. We want trade unions. We want good working conditions. And we want voting rights. So that the women's are demanding. So the women's are demanding. So I repeat that KMT party was mostly in urban, located in urban areas. They are more focused on the urban areas, even though they are not focused mostly on urban areas. Okay, 5 lakhs people are working in Shanghai. Majority people were women's. Women, they do not have proper salaries. Very bad working conditions are there. Low wages are there. Women's demanding for the freedom. Women's demanding for the better working conditions. Women's were demanding for the women's rights, and women's were associated. Women's were forming trade unions. So these all are there. Okay, yeah, these mostly European ideas were developed in China among the women's also, because this also one of the responsible for this responsible is schools and colleges. Schools and colleges. Schools and colleges were set up in all throughout the China. Then majority people were receiving education, and they are demanding the European ideas: equality, fraternity, liberty, independence, democracy. So they started demands. Example, 1902, Peking University. Peking University. Peking University was set up. Peking University also played a very crucial role among the education sector in China. Education sector in China, schools and universities, and journalism. Journalism also mostly focused. Due to the journalism also, their thought, their change came among the people's ideology. And let us see how this KMT party fall down. This is the KMT party attitude. Then now let us discuss how this KMT party fall down. KMT party initial days, it was very good. When Sun Yat-sen was founder, Sun Yat-sen was the founder. He also founder of modern China. Yeah, Chiang Kai-shek. Yeah, Chiang Kai-shek was conservative. I repeat, he was conservative. You know that meaning of the conservative. Conservative means he who usually likes the old tradition. He was a conservative. He was a conservative. Conservative means he wanted the old tradition, and he also said many times that women need to be confined. Women confined to home. He told that women need not do any work. Women have to do only the household work. Women that need not need anything. Women just they have to serve their husband and children. That's it. And he also introduced certain things that 4 virtues. 4 virtues we call, that is 4 virtues. What are these 4 virtues? First one is appearance. Women appearance need to be very good, very gentle. Okay? Appearance. Second one is chastity. Chastity means women need to be very pure. Third one, speech. And fourth one is work. So women have to do work in a house. Women have to speak very polite and women has to follow chastity. Chastity means very pure, no illegal relationship, and their appearance also what we call very traditional, very traditions. So these are called as four virtues which was introduced by Chiang Kai-shek. And he also told that women have to be covered their bodies from the neck to. Women have to be covered their bodies from the neck to toe. Neck. These are called as hemilines. He introduced one frock. It is called as hemiline. He introduced one frock. So this frock is called as hemiline. Hemiline, you know, it is covered complete body from the neck to toe. The body will be covered. So that majority people they lost interest on the KMT party. Majority people they know that this person was not good and his ideology also not good at all for the China. And most probably what the people feel that no, the Sun Yat-sen aim is Sun Yat-sen aim. What is Sun Yat-sen aim? Sun Yat-sen main aim is that his plan. Sun Yat-sen vision is try to build nationalism. Try to build nationalism and completely abolish the capitalism. Plan. The Sun Yat-sen plans were ignored. Sun Yat-sen that he gave most of the importance to the visions. Sun Yat-sen plans were ignored. Sun Yat-sen visions also ignored. Sun Yat-sen main policy is build nationalism or suppress capitalism. So that was ignored by this KMT party. Then ultimately this KMT party was lost interest. And one more reason for that, he tried to ban the trade unions. He tried to impose military on the poor people also, on the people. He tried to build a military rule and he tried to suppress the movement against him. He was tried to suppress the women trade unions also. He wanted to suppress. Hence, Chiang Kai-shek was lost his majority, and many of the people were not interested to join in this KMT party. So this is about rise and downfall of KMT party. Next. Now let us see Chinese situation. Japan occupied China in 1937. I repeat, Japan occupied some parts of China were occupied by Japan in 1937. And due to this, lot of drastic changes came. So China became very weak. 30% of prices increased. All the cost was increased. During at the time, lot of the people were suffering. So those time the rural people are suffering. Rural China usually suffering with the mainly two problems. One is ecological problem. Like disturbances, ecological disturbances. Ecological with soil exhaustion. Ecological with soil exhaustion and deforestation. I am writing here. These are complete one. Deforestation and floods. Usually floods also came. Last one is flood. This is complete one point. So rural China facing two problems at the time. Ecological with soil exhaustion. Ecological with soil exhaustion one problem. Deforestation and floods. Floods is one problem. And another problem is rural indebtedness. Poor people were indebtedness. Rural peoples were indebtedness. Indebtedness means they are unable to pay. The amount or money to the landlords due to the landlords. And primitive technology, poor communications. And last and final one is poor communications. Pure communication were there in China. So these are the rural China problem. These all are the rural China problem. Rural indebtedness. Rural people were indebtedness. They are completely in the debt trap. And primitive technology, there was no proper technology. And poor communications. There was no good communications in China. So this is during the 1937 when Japan occupied China. That time China became very weak. 30% of prices were rose, and ecological balance, these all are the problematic during at the time. During at the time, a person was formed. CCP party was formed in 1921. CCP means Chinese Communist Party. Chinese Communist Party was founded in 1921 by Mao Zedong. Very, very important. Mao Zedong. CCP party was founded by Mao Zedong with the help of Soviet support. With the help of Soviet support. Yeah, Lenin was established in one Comintern. Yeah, sir, what is Comintern? Comintern, it was an international organization. Comintern, it was an international organization. If any country they wanted to establish, they wanted to set up communist kind of government, this Comintern will support. Example, India. Indians wanted to establish communist government, so they will give their support to us. Okay, and this Comintern helped many of the countries. They also followed Marxism, Marxist ideology. You might have aware that Karl Marx, they followed Karl Marx ideology. So Marxist ideology, the Comintern, also called as communism. CCP party was founded in 1921 because of the Russian Revolution. It was formed due to the impact of Russian Revolution. In our previous lesson, we learned that in Russia, revolution broke in 1917. Then after communist government was set up in Russia. Then Chinese also inspired from the Russian Revolution. They set up Communist Party of China or Chinese Communist Party. So this was set up in 1921 by Mao Zedong, and the Comintern gave huge support to this. So this is our session today, and next session we will see about CCC party's action plan. Thank you very much.